Most of those going for testing say they have neighbors that have contracted the virus, which is why they want to know whether or not they too have it. The reason I came for testing is because last week I spoke to someone who later told me that they had been infected. That is why I came here. We are all just trying to stay safe and healthy, so even the slightest change in the way you feel could prompt you to come for testing, and that is why we are all here. I came here to check that I am not infected with COVID and step up my preventive measures. However, I feel like I have the symptoms. I am fatigued and generally do not feel well. I did not feel it appropriate not to come for testing, and yet in my neighborhood there is a problem. Because COVID-19 testing at health centers is free of charge, they have now been overwhelmed by the flood of people going to them. It used to be that not many people came for testing. Now, however, it is almost overwhelming. At times, there are just too many people to test with the equipment we have, and one of the reasons for this is because private clinics and hospitals charge those who go to them for testing, and most people cannot afford to pay. If testing were to be free everywhere, it would reduce the load on us. Out of the 50 or so people who come to us, 10 or 15 are usually positive for the virus. The most we have had in a day is 16. In addition to the regular COVID-19 virus, Rwandans have to worry about variants are also a serious problem, one in particular.
So the Delta variant is the more spreading virus today in the world when you compare to the initial ancestral mutation or variant, which was a variant identified in the first in Wuhan. So that variant, that means just to simplify the terms. So we know that every time a virus has just to change, to mutate. When a virus enters into the body, it just changes its shape after some hours. It becomes another virus. What it changes in virus is what we call the genetic material. The genetic material that is just to give you maybe a picture, a clear picture. It's like when you take a book. In the book you have writing, you have sentences. If you change one just syllable, one letter in the book, then you miss the message of the sentence. That is how the virus changes.
The professor says the best thing Rwandans can do now is step up their COVID-19 preventive measures and implement them properly.
What can be done is to strengthen the restriction measures. So we are seeing in different parts of the world where the Delta variant is more predominant that there have been decrease in terms of the restriction. Even here, of course, wearing a mask, keeping a social distance, washing your hands every time, using the appropriate measures, this is really number one. This has to be done. Just to avoid at least to see a total lockdown happening with all consequences that we know. At least we should just respect this and strengthen these restrictions measures. So there are some events we see today, like the UEFA 2020, the football matches, where you see people that are really in mass gathering. Those are really the sources of the increase and the result of this increase. So you should avoid those kind of social gathering, whatever they are, even here in Rwanda, just to see at least we can decrease the numbers. You have seen the numbers are increasing on a daily basis. At least we decrease these numbers, and also we be able to fight this new variant, which is more critical than the first one.
Government officials are also urging the general public to respect the preventive measures in place. Let me take this opportunity to warn people. We have a pandemic on our hands, and that is obvious for anyone to see, with more people coming into hospitals and health centers with symptoms. Some of them so sick we are obligated to take them to specialized treatment centers like the Nyarugenge Hospital. The Kanyinya Center has also been reopened, and so has Gatenga. So there are many infections in Kigali, and Rubavu too has also been putting up very high numbers. We must therefore all rigorously implement the COVID-19 measures because a person can protect themselves from this virus.
Icyo tugomba gukora twese nukongera kuzirikana amabwiriza yo kwirinda COVID-19 kuko birashoboka ko umuntu yayirinda.
More than 3,300 fresh infections have been recorded during this week alone, as well as 51 fatalities. The pandemic has claimed more than 520 lives since it was first detected in the country in March last year.